What a wonderful moment for Jack Catterall, the 31-year-old from Chorley in Lancashire. It's equidistant, he was telling us, between Liverpool and Manchester. Last year in Liverpool, he fought against Jorge Linares, the former outstanding world champion. That was in October of last year. Last time out in Leeds, he got the better of Josh Taylor, his bitter rival, who's put the sole blemish on his record after their battle for the undisputed light welterweight crown in February of 2022. He righted that wrong, no belts were on the line. So here he is, for the third time in 12 months, facing off against a former world champion, a top boy in the 140-pound light welterweight, super lightweight division. He's got momentum behind him. He's filled with confidence. He's overcome the niggle that has pushed this contest back. It was supposed to be in August. He hasn't specified what the niggle is, but in consultation with Jamie Moore, the former European champ, who's his trainer, and Nigel Tavis, all of the team out of the Moss Side Fire Station, here he is, preparing to christen this magnificent state-of-the-art amphitheatre in the fighting mad city of Manchester. Jack Catterall just into sight of the crowd here now, having made his way through the bowels of the arena, and the lights change. It is illuminated in a blue haze, and if we turn 180 degrees to look behind us, we can see Jack Catterall just bobbing, his eyes focused as he bobs in time to the Michael Jackson beat here at the Co-op Live Arena. Jack Catterall seeking to continue his magnificent run of recent form and underline his status as one of the very best light welterweights in the world. Nicknamed El Gato, the Cat, a moniker that he earned during the dog rounds in Floyd Mayweather's gym in Las Vegas, where he more than held his own as a fighter on the come-up. He's at the boxing ring now, in a white tunic trimmed with black, into the arena, and skips over to where Jamie Moore awaits in the blue corner on the far side of the ring. Steve, what do you make of the approach?
I tell you what, he looks calm, he looks relaxed, he doesn't look overhyped, he doesn't look worried, he doesn't look concerned. In fact, he looks exactly like Jack Catterall from Chorley. That's how Jack Catterall from Chorley approaches every fight. Sometimes people have accused him of not having the necessary enthusiasm as he walks to the ring. Lacking a little bit. I don't, that's just normal. That's Jack, don't change. Do what Jack does.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Co-op Live here in Manchester, England. We are live on DAZN for the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO International Super Lightweight Championship. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Rougarou Promotions. Sponsored by Betfred, Stagefront, Everlast, Forged Irish Stout, Apu.com, Riyadh Season, and Drip. This bout is sanctioned under the auspices of the British Boxing Board of Control. The steward in charge is Sue Potts, and the World Boxing Organization. The president, Francisco Paco Valcárcel. The supervisor is Dennis Gilmartin. Introducing your three judges scoring this title fight from ringside. From the United States of America, Dave Braslow. From Spain, Manuel Oliver Palomo. And from England, Bob Williams. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring, A-star referee, Mr. John Latham. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set and we are here. This is it. The time has come. I said the time has come. From the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring right here at the Co-op Live in Manchester, England. The fight starts now! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears black with gold trim. He scaled 9 stone, 13 pounds, 7 ounces. Professional record, 29 victories, 2 2 defeats, he has 24 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of New Orleans, Louisiana, USA, here is the former 2-time super lightweight champion of the world, Regis Prograis. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He wears beige and black, and he's scaled at the super lightweight limit of 10 stone, bang on. His professional record, 29 victories, 1 defeat, with 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Proudly fighting out of and representing his home of Chorley, England. Here is the former world title challenger, Jack El Gato Catterall.
So referee Bob Latham with the final instructions. Well, what a contest we have in store here. There is no world title on the line, but these two men are among the very best operators in the business in the 140-pound, 10-stone super lightweight division. As Chorley's Jack Chorley prepares to face off against Rougarou. Regis Prograis from New Orleans in the United States of America. We're underway. This contest scheduled for 12 3-minute rounds. It's an all-southpaw affair between two of the very best in the business. The man from New Orleans in the United States of America, Regis Prograis, at his very best, one of the premier box fighters in the world at his weight class, a former 2-time world champion. He's wearing black trunks trimmed with gold, black gloves, and flashy black and gold boots. He started aggressively, circling to his right, counterclockwise, and shooting at spearing right jab to the body. His fellow southpaw is El Gato, Jack Catterall from Chorley in Lancashire. He too operating out of the southpaw stance. His shorts beige trimmed with black, black gloves and black boots trimmed with gold. The man just on the edge of range. Nice counter right jab from El Gato on the back foot. Jack Catterall just luring in his man, and the impact was doubled up as he tripped out that lead right jab. Both men operating behind right hands that are around their belt line, and it's Jack Catterall who's finding the range beautifully with his lead right stick through this portion of the round. He's swinging his right arm like a pendulum around his thigh, and just coming forwards on quick feet and throwing out a range-finding jab is Regis Prograis. Both men operating out of the half-cover guard, their chin and open target, but each of these boxers are so cultivated in their skills and possess such terrific reflexes that they're using that as a first line of defense rather than having the hands up in the on-guard position. We're beyond the halfway stage of this opening round as the boxers just feinting and shaping on the edge of range at center ring. Behind terrifically quick feet, Regis Prograis comes forward and scores with the right jab, and then with a right jab pushing off counterclockwise to his right, Catterall scores. Chopping left hand attempted at mid-range from Regis Prograis as the two men just continue to examine one another and feint on the edge of range once more. Both men with their feet on the logo at center ring, and breaking the deadlock is Regis Prograis, shuffling forwards on feet that are incredibly quick, but his forward movement being negated by the good counterclockwise movements of Jack Catterall, not moving backwards but giving his man angle that he pushes off his back left foot and steps in with a right jab to the body. Regis Prograis scores with a right jab to the chest. Final 30 seconds of this opening round. Nice movement in the pocket from Regis Prograis, and he just shakes his head contemptuously because that movement that I referred to just a few moments ago caused the right-left combination of Jack Catterall to miss by millimeters as he continues to stutter step his way forwards. Beautiful counter right jab from Regis Prograis. After spinning off counterclockwise, Jack Catterall fired a right jab. He was made to miss and then made to pay by Regis Prograis, who completed the fistic occasion by scoring without reply. Treble jab from Jack Catterall is off the mark, and Regis Prograis looking incredibly sharp with his defensive movements. Skillful opening round of boxing.
The intensity between the two of them, their eyes looking at each other, their eyes not taking not taking a single break, watching shoulders, watching fists, seeing what's going on. Nothing to score in that round, absolutely, if you like, the man that nearly missed with 7 or the man that nearly missed with 8. Absolutely nothing. I would give it to Catterall. I think he scored a couple of jabs at the end and a couple of jabs early. But if you do it on ringmanship, ringcraft, then perhaps Regis for avoiding so beautifully. And not a lot in it. And not a lot of time for you to tell us about not a lot in it either.
Not a lot in it at all. And listen, like you said, I've probably seen it the other way slightly. He was a little bit more dominating with his feet, but very little was landed. I always thought the first 3 rounds of this was going to be very cagey. You know what it's like? A very high level chess match.
Yeah, it is. It's quality, Ron. The balance. Look at the intensity. You can sense it. They're shaking with intensity. I like it. Okay, it's not Rocky. It's better than that.
So into the second round of this light welterweight contest, the first night of boxing at the new Co-op Live Arena in Manchester on the Manchester City campus. It really is a magnificent amphitheatre for boxing in a city that is blessed with so many. And this contest has yet to catch fire. Counter left hand attempted by Catterall, looking to catch the advancing Prograis, but Regis Prograis looking incredibly sharp as he scores with a stab jab to the body, as he again just twitch-footing his way across the canvas once more, closing the distance, but Jack Catterall remaining cool in the face of that advance as he just glided away to his right. Stab jab to the body scored by Jack Catterall as 2 men continue to operate behind low-held guards. And again, we've got a big ring here in the Co-op Live Arena, but you could throw both of these guys in a lift and there would still be space between them. Such is the manner in which they're working angles and creating space for their footwork and their punches. Still no shots scored in anger, as each attempted jab is being countered and negated by the footwork of the other. There was a good double jab from Catterall, body then chin from Catterall, counter single jab from Prograis, counter right hand again from Catterall, who is continually being backed up. He's now near the red corner, just to the right of our commentary position here on 5 Live. And Prograis shaking his head contemptuously once more, trying to distract and dispirit Jack Catterall, but Catterall keeping his concentration, bends at the waist, scores with a jab to the body, and then follows up with a right-left combination to the head. Right jab off the back foot from Catterall once again, as Regis Prograis edging his way forwards, coming off the most disappointing performance of his career last time out, when he was dominated by Devin Haney, dropped in the 3rd round in December of last year, and that was the first time in the professional career of the former 2-time world champion that he failed to win a round in a boxing match. There he steps forward, scores with a good right jab to the body, and he made the comments after the contest saying that wasn't Regis Prograis in there. He said that he's rejuvenated, refreshed and refocused on his ring craft, and he's shaping up nicely here, but very few scoring punches through the first 2 minutes of this second round. There's a jab on an upward trajectory scored by Jack Catterall, as Regis Prograis again just stutter steps in pursuit of Catterall, but Catterall just gliding around the ring as though he's on roller skates to maintain the gap between himself and his opponent. And there remains a gap in between the two that they are trying to breach with quick footwork. Catterall did so effectively and scored with a thrusting jab to the body. Regis Prograis now changing the direction, moving clockwise to his left before jamming on his ankles and moving back counterclockwise to his right, dipping at the knees, bobbing and weaving and twitching in front of his man, coming forwards on twinkle-toed foot movement once again, and just trying to catch Catterall. Good left cross over the top, the best shot of the entire round landed by Prograis at the end of that contest, at the end of that stanza.
You win a round like that with a punch like that close to the bell. Everyone's looking, everyone's aware. It's a big show shot. I thought Regis had the right idea by applying that 3 or 4 step pressure. Not that he let his hands go, but I thought it was a good idea, Andy.
No, I absolutely agree, Steve. What he did, he was getting his feet there, he just wasn't letting the hands go. I think it's a reminder to Jack Catterall, he can close the distance, and he did that at the very end with a left hand. Before that, very little was landed. I probably scored the round to Jack Catterall, just a little bit busier. Like I said, there's very little landing, but there's a lot going on up there, a lot going on with the feet, a lot of feints. Yeah.
So the way these guys box, they're boxers, they're stylists, they don't get hit a lot. Does one of them need to take a risk, or do they both believe they can nick it without having to take a risk, Sam? What do you think?
Take a risk at
Someone's got to have to.
But it won't be yet, I don't feel.
Not yet, not for a few rounds.
No.
Thanks, Sam.
So we move into the 3rd round of a contest that has been replete with skill and ringcraft through the first 6 minutes. Precious few scoring punches, but to rectify that, Jack Catterall came out and landed a thrusting right jab just above the belt line of Regis Prograis. Scores with that same shot downstairs once again does Catterall, and then brings it up to the sternum of the tattooed man from New Orleans, nicknamed Rougarou, fictional character from the French Creole diaspora, a werewolf cursed, and he used to come to the ring behind that mask. Doesn't don it anymore, but retains the nickname, and is heavily tattooed with a depiction of the Rougarou character on his chest. Is Catterall. He's now in centre ring, operating out of a wide-legged stance. Regis Prograis scores with a flicking jab to the body, and it's Regis Prograis just circling counterclockwise before changing direction to move clockwise to his left, away from the backhand of Catterall. There's a reddening beneath Catterall's right eye. He started this round with that reddening, and there's reddening just on the right forehead of Regis Prograis, because he's just taken another right jab, a whiplash of a shot from Catterall in that same region. Catterall scores with the right jab to the body, then just lost his footing momentarily as the lead legs tangled in this all-southpaw affair. Regis Catterall with his mouth wide open. That's not a sign of fatigue. He's just mugging and gurning in the direction of his man. And again, both men stepping in to score with thrusting lead right hands to the body, continuing to shape and shimmy and twist from the waist, working those cores, and the feet movements in the boxing ring is a joy to behold. Beautiful jab off the back foot from Catterall, was the more authoritative of the light right sticks, fired out simultaneously. Right jab to the body from Prograis, and a right jab to the chest from Catterall. And again, the concentration absolute between these two. Straight shot to the body with the lead right hand from Regis Prograis, who's content to remain on the edge of range. Catterall operating out of centre ring, and just on the periphery of ring centre is Catterall, and he lands his best shot of the contest. He started the attempted combination with a left cross and then turned in a double riding crop of a right jab, and the second one was loaded with leverage. There he scores with a pecking right jab off the back foot while moving counterclockwise to his right, and the action exclusively in the space of centre ring. I don't think either of these men have come into contact with the strands yet during the 3-minute rounds, as Catterall scores with another right jab to the body once again. Regis Prograis just continuing to operate out of a wide-legged stance. There he breaks. Oh, that's a cracking counter left hand from Catterall, catching the advancing Prograis, and he stiffened the knees of the man from Louisiana. Best shot of the entire contest, and it broke the deadlock that was resulted after the standoff at the end of that third round.
As we said, you win a fight like this with a punch like that. That was a good shot, and he's been looking for it all the time, Catterall. Timing a counter against a smart fighter, that's difficult. Great shot.
He's a fantastic counter puncher, is Jack Catterall, and that was a world-class counter punch. The leg, it buzzed Regis Prograis, which I thought, but I didn't think it had come till later on in the fight. Regis looked like he recovered well, though. He looked like he recovered well. Again, not too much landed before that. I was just leaning towards Jack, but like you said, one punching around like that wins the round, and that's what I think happened.
You know, Chris Eubank did that for half a dozen times in world title defences. Showboating, nothing happens in the round, makes the guy miss, lands two big lunging rights on the clapper or in the last 20 seconds and wins it. I have a feeling that might be what Jack's looking for. Not necessarily getting engaged, but just little bursts,
early on.
short bursts.
Yeah.
So we move into the fourth round after Jack Catterall landed that quality pot shot to conclude proceedings at the end of the third. Regis Prograis aware of that and is out over the front foot, looking to push Catterall backwards. But again, it's as though Catterall doesn't possess a reverse gear, because just as Josh Taylor found when they fought up in Scotland in February of 2022, despite Josh Taylor's aggression, Catterall seldom moves backwards. Instead, he moves around the clock face masterfully, never retreating, always circling, and thereby always within range to explode with his wonderfully picked counters, just as he did at the conclusion of the third round. Both men are on top of the logo at centre ring. With 50 seconds gone in the fourth, Regis Prograis stepping forward, scoring with a good jab to the chest, and then followed it with a jab to the head. Catterall responds with a jab to the body. Regis Prograis just moving counterclockwise to his left now as Catterall comes forward in search of the right jab, and both men operating with lead right hands that are down by their kneecaps. The left hand around the pec, so the chin apparently an open target, but who has the courage? Who will have the daring to break these standoffs that are punctuating large parts of this contest by stepping in search of a counter shot in the direction of that open chin? We're beyond the halfway stage of this round as Catterall seeking the left hand over the top, but it was inaccurate, and as he sought to get reorganized, there was an opening for a counter, but Prograis wasn't in range. Counter right jab scored by Catterall, just flicking the forehead of Regis Prograis, who's just finding himself on the edge of range once again, trying to bob and weave and think his way back into distance, and there's an exchange of rapid fire right jabs once again. Just keeping an eye on that reddening beneath the right optic of Jack Catterall as he dips his knees and whips out a right jab to the body. There he looked for the sneaky left hand over the top again after Prograis went in search of a right jab of his own. And Regis Prograis hasn't got his chin on his chest. He's not got his hands around his chin. And that chin must be presenting a really inviting target. But it's almost like cheese in a mousetrap for Jack Catterall, as is the chin of Jack Catterall for Regis Prograis, who will break this deadlock as exchange of jabs sees Catterall lands with more authority once again. Final 30 seconds of this fourth round as Regis Prograis scores with a effective right jab to the body, the nice movement of the head to cause the jab from Catterall to miss. Coming forwards now is Regis Prograis. But again, the foot move. Oh, there's a cracking left cross once again from Catterall. Rapier-like with that southpaw backhand, just picking off Regis Prograis, who just thought about coming forwards in search of a right jab once more. Coming forward, but no motion with the fist behind his forward motion of his feet is Regis Prograis, and that's got to be another round for Catterall, courtesy of that left cross.
I'd say it was another round for Catterall, but there's an awful. You know what, Ronald? I think when we look at this in the dead of night, when we've gone off air, we'll look at the scorecards from the three men. I think there's three men at the moment, three men at ringside, and I guarantee you there'll be very few rounds that are unanimous in one favour. This is that type of fight. What do you fancy? What do you favour? What's this type of fight.
Absolutely. I like, even then there's little bits where Prograis is tripling up his jab. One might be a half getting through. There's still very little being landed. But then is it that the one eye-catching shot? And there probably only was one eye-catching shot from him in that round, and that was from Jack Catterall with a backhand again. I think very soon we've talked about it. You think in the next round or two, someone's going to have to start taking a bit of a risk.
And I would imagine it's going to be Regis in his corner, because they know they're overseas. They're expecting not to get fairly treated. He's got to let his hands go when he gets his feet in a position. It's that simple.
So we move into the fifth round of a contest that is incredibly cagey thus far, but the quality is off the charts. And Steve Bunce, 5 Live regular, just referring to the fact that Regis Prograis, aware that he's overseas fighting in the UK for the second time. His first trip to these shores came in October of 2019 when he met Josh Taylor in the final of the World Boxing Super Series, putting his WBC title on the line against Josh Taylor for all of the marbles. And that contest was so keenly contested that many observers felt, oh, that's a wonderful left cross once again from Jack Catterall behind a right jab. But many observers felt, had the contest been overseas, had it been in the United States, then Regis Prograis could well have got the nod and not many people will have complained. That's the quality that Regis Prograis brings to the ring. Again, dominated and out of sorts in his last outing against Devin Haney last time out. Devin Haney put him on the floor in the third round, despite Regis Prograis saying that he's not the hardest puncher that he's faced, but such is the timing. Oh, that's a good left cross from Prograis. His best shot of the entire contest. Right near the red corner, just above our commentary position. He came forward behind a double right jab, left cross over the top, and it just caught Jack Catterall on the temple. Jack Catterall cleverly tied him up. Referee John Latham prized the two men apart, and now they are just on the edge of range in the middle of the boxing ring once again. Halfway through this fifth round, Regis Prograis enjoying his best single shot success of the entire bout just a few moments ago. As the circling continues, both men circling counterclockwise. Good left cross over the Top again from Regis Prograis in response to a scoring right jab to the body from Jack Catterall. Regis Prograis trying to quicken his feet once more as they exhibited early on in the contest. Left cross over the top, catches Catterall as Catterall was looking to spin out of the red corner. And for the first time in the contest, Catterall retreating to the ropes, covered up behind the Philly shell defense, shook his head contemptuously, but Regis Prograis did catch him with a shot as he pivoted out of the confined position on the perimeter of the ring. Beautiful right jab from Regis Prograis once again, shot out from his pec and just cracking into the face of Jack Catterall. There he scores with the right jab without reply once more. Beautiful movement in the pocket from Regis Prograis, bobbing and weaving from the waist to cause the man from Chorley to miss. So Regis Prograis, went in search of a looping left cross over the top. That was way wide of the mark, but he kept his quick feet going and scored with a single right cross, and a right jab from Regis Prograis causes Jack Catterall to touch down. He remained on his feet, but something other than the soles of his feet touched the canvas. He touched down with a glove, and referee John Latham issuing a count, and that will be ruled as a knockdown. The 10-second clapper has sounded. So even though it's a flash knockdown, more a case of balance being interrupted than being buzzed, Jack Catterall will lose this round 10-8, one suspects on all three scorecards.
And also, you notice one thing, Jack didn't complain. Jack didn't scream the place down. I think he was slightly off balance, beautifully timed counter jab, slight hook from the right hand. I think that's what we're going to see when we see a slow-mo, just a perfectly timed counter, and one of Jack's gloves touched down.
It was, and it was one of there where John Latham had to score the knockdown. But what I will say, Steve, before that knockdown, Regis Prograis was having his best round of the fight,
success.
And it might have actually been the clearest round of the fight.
Well, let's watch it. Let's have a little watch it. We got the beauty of a replay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a jab with a bit of curl in it. It hits
off the shoulder at the chin.
It hits it, and he's off balance. He touches down with his right hand. That's a knockdown, Ronald. Simple as that. That's why Jack doesn't say a word. That's tough because that's a 10-8 round.
Yeah.
Second up, round 6.
So to the sixth round of a contest we go. It's scheduled for 12 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. World-level professional boxing between two of the best light welterweights in the world. And having been put on the floor in the previous round from a beautiful counter-right jab from Regis Prograis, Jack Catterall has started this round aggressively, resulting in a trade-off at centre ring. Now it's just on the edge of thinking distance around the logo at centre ring once more, as Regis Prograis continuing to hold his mouth wide open as he goes in search of that right jab. Jack Catterall pushes him off with the shoulder. John Latham on that infringement immediately because that is an illegal move. Left cross was long from Catterall, but the corkscrew right which followed was right on the money from Catterall. Regis Prograis senses that, goes in search of his get back and scores with a two-shot combination, pushing Jack Catterall to the neutral corner on this near side of the ring. Catterall spinning off counterclockwise now, and that's the hard left hand slung into the body from Regis Prograis, and Regis Prograis sitting down on his shots now, getting some real purchase on them. And again, the boxing stance of Jack Catterall becoming just a little bit disorganized. He weighed in right on the limit at super lightweight, 140 pounds, 10 stone even. Beautiful left hand right hook to the body slung in from Jack Catterall. But Regis Prograis, his confidence visibly growing here beneath the ring lights at the Co-op Live Arena. Operating out of centre ring, changing direction to move counterclockwise as the thinking continues just on the edge of range. Beautiful counter right jab from Regis Prograis in response to the left hand lead thrown by the southpaw El Gato Jack Catterall. Halfway through this sixth round as Regis Prograis scoring with a left cross with Catterall near the ropes on the far side of the ring, and now exaggerating his foot movement now, almost body popping up in the boxing ring is Regis Prograis. As the circling continues, the two men watching and trying to work a lead that they can exploit. Minute remaining in this round as Jack Catterall moving counterclockwise, thrusts out a right-left combination, but the shots were made to miss by good head movement from Regis Prograis. Both men just missing by millimeters with their attempted lead right jabs as they continue to operate with hands that are around their belt line. Action is in the middle of the boxing ring. Catterall fires his sneaky counter left hand but didn't commit to the shot because he sensed that Regis Prograis wasn't committing to his advance. Right jab off the back foot from Jack Catterall, and the decibel level being dialed up here on this first ever night of professional boxing at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. Final 30 seconds of this sixth round as the two men continuing to try to work their way in from the edge of range. It's exclusively a centre ring once more. Right uppercut, left hook from Jack Catterall. But Prograis goes in search of his get back, chases Catterall across the ring and scores with the left cross over the top. The biggest, most furious exchange of the entire contest. It was initiated by Catterall, but Prograis answered immediately, giving us terrific two-way action in the closing stages of round number 6.
There were some signs there of the way this fight might pan out. Catterall opened up beautifully, catching, I think he caught Regis with 2 or 3 combinations of 2 or 3, but on each occasion, Regis took that free step and then let his punches go, forcing Jack to go onto the ropes. And what he's starting to do now occasionally, Jack, is hold. Now, you might call it clinching, skillful clinching, it's still holding.
Yep, it is. And what I think is, this fight is finally starting to heat up now, like I thought it would do. The exchanges was good, there was a very high class. I thought Jack Catterall hit the body very well then, but what Prograis does is the punch output of Regis Prograis is a lot higher, and he did land a good backhand. Again, I give it a Catterall round, but these are close rounds, Steve.
He's been saying all week, Regis Prograis, you've been writing me off. You think I'm finished. Look again, watch again. Right now, going into the 7th round, we might have a fabulous, fabulous second half of this fight.
As we move into the second half of this world-class 12-round encounter here at the Co-op Live Arena, both men were up off their stool early to answer the bell. It's been an incredibly skillful contest so far. The concentration is almost visceral here. That's how hard these men are having to work to create their offensive successes. Jack Catterall circumnavigating the outer edge of ring center, currently moving counterclockwise. Regis Prograis edging forwards. His hands clashed together in a manner of Christopher Livingston Eubank, who graced this city with such distinction during his magnificent career. Hands around his belt line, but the head movement remaining constant from both men. Reaching for the roundhouse left cross was Catterall, but it was off the mark. Regis Prograis firing out a left cross that turned into a rabbit punch because Jack Catterall dipped and it caught the man from Chorley on the back of the head. Referee John Latham separates the two, and the action is in the middle of the boxing ring once again. Minute gone in this 7th round. Good left hand to the body, but it turns into a kidney punch from Regis Prograis because of the angle being presented by Jack Catterall. Referee John Latham spoke to Prograis about it, but it was nothing more than a mild talking to. There was a brief touchdown from Jack Catterall. John Latham wiped the gloves clean, and the action resumed. That was after a tangle on the ropes just above our commentary position. Halfway through this 7th round, left cross scored from seemingly another neighborhood from Prograis, and he senses that he's got Catterall going. Chased him across the ring, but was inaccurate with his follow-up fusillade. And that left cross of Regis Prograis is proving to be a profitable punch. He hasn't landed it with regularity, but when he has landed it, it has brought about a reaction from Jack Catterall. Good double left jab, double right jab off the back foot from Jack Catterall. And again, continuing to circle his man so adeptly, not moving backwards, but moving around the clock face. The reddening beneath the right eye, around the right eye of Jack Catterall, becoming more extreme as the heads in this all-southpaw encounter came together a few moments ago. Less than a minute to go, and there's an increased reddening now around the right eye of Jack Catterall, and that's because I think he sustained a cut on the hairline. So blood dripping down from the hairline and increasing the amount of reddening around the right optic of El Gato from Chorley in Lancashire. So the corner team are going to have to get to work in the corner on the far side of the ring for Jack Catterall. There's a hard left hand dug into the body from Regis Prograis. Jack Catterall answers with a right hand out of the southpaw stance. Regis Prograis looking to dig away with the left hand over the top. 10-second clapper sound, and Regis Prograis trying to advance on the sound of the 10-second clapper, but Jack Catterall negating his front foot movement with his good backwards movement. Uncaught a left uppercut, but couldn't find a range. That cut's got to get treated, Steve.
Yeah, cut's got to get treated. I think it's just a bit away from the eye, so it's going to run down, but it still needs to be treated. You don't need any blood flowing around. I thought that round was the scrappiest and the hardest round so far, because I think Regis senses he can put the pressure on here, and that right hand, or sort of left cross he caught Jack with, that was a cracking shot.
And we spoke about it all night, when in rounds where not many punches are being landed, it's the biggest shot of the round which catches your eye, which you lean towards that fighter, and that was certainly the case then. I thought it was a Regis Prograis round. I've got it dead level, and I think there's a lot to play for now going into round 8. But yeah, he did, we mentioned it as well, he's starting to feel a little bit more confident coming forward, Regis Prograis here. It's going to be interesting.
I think he looks more than a little confident. I think he looks really confident, and I'm not sure I like the way Jack Catterall's looked this last couple of rounds. He needs to refocus. Even if he's nicked one of those rounds, he needs to refocus and take the fight away from Prograis and take away his confidence.
So we move into the 8th round. Kerry Cage, one of the best cut men in the business, working assiduously on that cut to the right hairline of Jack Catterall. He's emerged looking like an old school football player on a cigarette card, because that part of his hair is matted down as a whiplash of a right jab, cracks into the face of Jack Catterall. Jack Catterall continuing to edge backwards. He comes forward behind a left cross and scores with a treble right jab. Those are scoring punches, but the more potent punches coming from Prograis, who scores with a left cross once again. The legs tangle on the inside. Regis Prograis on the canvas. Referee John Latham in optimal position, and this indicating immediately that that was a trip. No count, and the action resumes after the gloves of Regis Prograis are right clean. Jack Catterall moving counterclockwise to his right, scoring with a good jab while moving backwards. But Regis Prograis, you get the sense that his belief is strengthening here now, because he's continuing to press, bobbing and weaving, making Catterall miss because of some delightful movements in the pocket, shape-shifting like a character from the Matrix, as Catterall's right jab was rendered inaccurate because of the wonderful head movement in the pocket from Regis Prograis. Good combination to both body and head, but then Prograis with a final word, left cross over the top, and again it brought about a reaction from Jack Catterall, dipping his knees, driving him backwards, and as he went to claim the advancing Regis Prograis, the two men wound up in grapple mode and both of them tumbled to the canvas. That killed some time off the clock. And after that brilliant burst of punches from Jack Catterall, Regis Prograis answering with a single left cross, and it appeared to buzz Catterall once again. We're beyond the halfway stage of the 8th round here. Action on the edge of range, and again Prograis seemingly eager to get after his man with that left cross, but Catterall keeping his wits about him and able to glide away effectively on his fantastic foot movement. Minute remaining in this 8th round. Jabbing off the back foot once again is Jack Catterall, and his fans here who have made the short journey from Chorley to the Co-op Live Arena, trying to rouse their man with cries of Chorley, Chorley, as Jack Catterall being put under pressure by the presence of Regis Prograis. Neither man letting their hands go through this portion of the round. It was Prograis who sought to attack. He was made to miss. Catterall looked to counter with a burst of shots to head and body, but all of those 3 punches were inaccurate. Final 30 seconds of this 8th round as Prograis edging forward. Good right jab to the body in between the forearms of Regis Prograis from Jack Catterall. Catterall backing up effectively once again, as Prograis remains in pursuit of him. Now, how many times in this contest have we seen some significant action at the sound of the 10-second clapper? Both men went in search of it there, only to fall into the arms of one another as the bell sounds.
I tell you what, and Ronald, I said Prograis' corner think their man can get to Catterall. They think they can stop Catterall. They really, truly believe. I think they're confident. Every time that Regis catches Catterall, they don't like the way Catterall's reacting. Well, most of that, remember, is his balance, because he's moving back. It's not that he's staggered and falling, it's that he's moving back, then he gets clipped, and
we heard once or twice then the corner shouting just to the right of us, he's hurt, step on him. No, they're gonna try and rally their man up now, I feel, to really try and apply the pressure to Jack Catterall.
Still got 4 rounds left, remember, still got 4 rounds left. I think it's still a fight that can be won. I've got Regis in front at this point. Maybe it's the extra point, maybe it's just in rounds. But not only have I got Regis in front, I feel like he's in front, and that can matter.
Seconds up. Round 9.
You're listening to world-class professional boxing on BBC Radio 5 Live, the first ever night of boxing from the brand spanking new Co-op Live Arena on the campus of Manchester City in the northwest here. And the action is worthy of this maiden night of boxing because it is a contest of the highest quality between The man who many feel was the uncrowned champion, Jack Catterall, when he was outpointed by Josh Taylor up in Scotland a couple of years ago, and a man who previously held the title on 2 occasions, each of them with a common opponent in Josh Taylor, as Prograis scores with a beautiful right jab to the body. Each of them have beaten Josh Taylor beat Prograis and beat Catterall in their first encounter before Catterall got revenge and turned the tables last time out. Well, going in search of a thunderous right hook was Prograis, threw it with such venom and his feet left the canvas a la Floyd Patterson. But Catterall wasn't on the end of it, and so the momentum carried him down to the canvas. The gloves wipe clean and the action resumes. Good scoring jab to the body from Jack Catterall as the circling counterclockwise by both men continues, as again the fans turning up the volume here at this venue, which is ostensibly for music, but the sweet science holding centre stage tonight is Prograis' corner just to the right of our commentary position, telling him to work the body, but it's Catterall who takes that instruction on board and scored with 2 shots, a left hook and right hook to the abdomen of Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis back into punching range, but bobbing and weaving didn't let his hands go. As he got back into range again, he scored with the right jab, only to be countered by a right jab from the belt line, scored by Catterall, who then scored with a right cross, right jab, left cross out of the southpaw stance. And it's Catterall who's the busier boxer through this portion of the round. Regis Prograis, is he perhaps just falling into the trap of thinking that he can hurt Catterall with a single shot, because through this portion of the round with 2 minutes gone, he hasn't been that busy. There's a beautiful right from Catterall, right jab, left cross, right jab, and then a double jab and a right-left combination. Catches Prograis right on the button and drops him heavily to the canvas. He's back upon his feet. He's nodding in the direction of referee John Latham, who told the mandatory 8 count. Catterall firing off right uppercuts on the resumption of action here. 30 seconds remaining as another left cross checks the chin of Regis Prograis, who's continuing to box with his hands by his belt line. Regis Prograis on the edge of ring center, content to continue to operate with his low-held guard. Jack Catterall remaining cautious, going in search of the left cross once again, but good defense with the gloves from Regis Prograis, performing the salute with that right glove, getting it up to his temple to ward off the left cross that was being fired in with bad intentions. But another left hand lead from Jack Catterall drops Regis Prograis for the 2nd time in the round. It wasn't set up with a jab, it was a wonderfully picked left cross, and Regis Prograis not quite saved by the bell, but that bell has come at just the right time for the man from New Orleans, who was dropped twice in the round.
And he boxed beautifully, Catterall, before the knockdown, before that shot. He was looking for it. He pulled out of it a couple of times and then let it go. It wasn't so much a counter. He just stepped across him, threw it beautifully, timed it beautifully. What a shot, what a knockdown.
Fantastic shot, which we're going to see now. The timing, brilliant. It comes here now. You'll see it, the left hand, feel it, it drops it over, but it was the follow-up as well. He knows it can hit. What a shot.
And he goes down heavy.
He goes down heavy, he gets up, he never fully recovered, which causes the 2nd knockdown as well.
Should have taken a longer count there. Then the 2nd knockdown, that's a great shot.
Now, how he comes out, does he put it straight on Regis Prograis?
Yes.
As Regis Prograis got his legs beneath him again.
Yes, he does. Straight on him.
So we move into the 10th round. Regis Prograis back into the mix after being dropped heavily twice in the 9th, courtesy of sumptuous left crosses from Jack Catterall. So how well has he recovered during the 60-second interval? Jack Catterall, who possesses sneaky power, never loading up on his shots, but his timing at his best is masterful indeed, and he exhibited that quality by sending his man to the floor with wonderfully picked left crosses during the course of the 9th stanza. Regis Prograis each time got back to his feet quickly to beat the count, but how badly hurt was he by those wonderfully picked left crosses from Jack Catterall? It's the 2nd fight in a row where he's been decked. Scores with a good right jab, does Regis Prograis, showing Jack Catterall that he's still a live dog in this contest. And it's Catterall just remaining patient, and again the fans dialing up the decibel level here at the Co-op Live Arena. Beautiful right jab from Catterall, countered immediately by a right jab from Prograis, who then goes in search of a right jab to the body. The 2 men on the logo at centre ring. And they're just beyond punching range at the moment. as each looking to give the opponent angles, stepping forwards on trigger quick feet is Regis Prograis, scored with the right jab, left cross over the top from Catterall, was caught by the gloves of Prograis before Catterall scored with a right jab to the body. And Prograis' legs perhaps not fully back beneath him, because when Jack Catterall scored with that right jab to the body, the boxing stance of Regis Prograis was disrupted. He's doing a good job of playing possum here, Regis Prograis, because there's a wonderful right-left combination, but then countered immediately from Catterall. It was Regis Prograis who broke the stare down and the standoff with a right jab, left cross, but Catterall answered immediately with a howitzer of a left cross of his own. There Catterall going in search of another left-hand lead. But what thunderous exchanges in a contest where both men have been on the floor. They are showing stout punch resistance and plenty of will, because their chins were checked, and each of them passed the chin check beyond the 2-minute mark of this 10th round. So Catterall coming forwards over his front foot, scores with the right jab, left hook as Catterall stepped in behind the lead right stick. Regis Prograis bobbing and weaving, and it was almost as though he took the first 2 minutes to allow his legs to fully recover Regis Prograis, and then stepped in and helped himself to that sumptuous 2-shot salvo. But Catterall answered in an instant. 10-second clapper here to conclude in the closing stages of the 10th round. Catterall reaching for a treble right jab, but negated by the lateral movement of Regis Prograis, who spun off the line to his right. What a round!
Jack Catterall and Regis Prograis in a slugfest. That's a sentence I never thought I would utter. But we've had 3 knockdowns. We've had simultaneous left crosses almost there. We were half a second away from a double knockdown. This is turning into an even better fight than we could have imagined, Ant Crawler.
No, it has. Like I say, I always thought it would be cagey at the other, but I thought when it did catch fire, you'll see 2 world-class counter punches, which we've seen then. Backhand landed by one, then the other one fired straight back. And as the timing now, are they going to get the reds off the line? Will we see a little bit more success from both? One thing I will say, I thought Regis Prograis, considering how hurt he was the round before, done well that round.
He did do well. We're just seeing here replays, the big screen, the crowd are seeing them too. He did do well, Regis Prograis, but I think those 2 knockdowns in the 9th, especially the first, they take a toll and they leave a toll. Yeah. You know, you can recover and you can recover, and then sometimes you never fully recover, and never.
So into the championship rounds we go, in what has been an absolutely, utterly absorbing contest between 2 quality southpaws in the 140-pound super lightweight division. Regis Prograis dropped twice in the 9th round by wonderful left crosses from Jack Catterall. Jack Catterall dropped by a counter right jab in the 5th round, as Catterall getting to work with his own lead right stick to ping the head back of Regis Prograis. And Prograis stepping forwards in search of the jab, but not fully committing to it. And again, to what extent are his legs back beneath him as he fires a rather pedestrian overhand left, missed by some distance, quickly claimed his man around the waist, forcing the intervention of referee John Latham to separate the 2 boxers. Action is in the middle of the boxing ring. It's Catterall who steps forward and scores with a thrusting lance of a right jab to the body. There he looks for the right-left combination, but again, effective defense with the right glove from Regis Prograis, who answered the telephone, got his right glove up to his ear to ward off the incoming left cross from El Gato from Chorley. Just over a minute gone in this 11th round, and again, the fans increasing the volume, making their presence felt, making Regis Prograis feel as though he's a very long way from home. Will Jack Catterall be able to harness the energy and encouragement coming down from this crowd of 10,000 here at the Co-op Live Arena? The men continuing to move both clockwise and counterclockwise as the physical chess match on the canvas of the boxing ring continues. Jack Catterall scores with a left cross over the top of the low-held right hand of Regis Prograis, who is remaining a threat. He's got a swelling on his right temple now, Regis Prograis, but he's not letting his hands go with the regularity of Jack Catterall, who again scores with a thrusting right jab to the body of Rougarou from New Orleans. Right jab success again from Catterall a few moments ago, and Regis Prograis in search of his man, only to be met by a double right jab from Jack Catterall, and the activity level of Regis Prograis has dropped from the success that he enjoyed in the middle rounds. Big swing and a miss with a left hand over the top from Catterall. Beautiful right left again from Catterall while moving counterclockwise to his right. Wonderful ring craft once more from El Gato. And Regis Prograis, well, for my money, he's conceding these rounds here, and Jack Catterall has sensed his discomfort and has boxed beautifully behind accurate punch picking in the 10th and 11th rounds. And that's after dropping him twice heavily in the 9th. Good right jab while moving counterclockwise once again from Catterall. And he's doing such a good job with his balance and maintaining his stance and presenting angles to Regis Prograis. Wonderful way to find space in the boxing ring. Jabbing effectively off the back footed Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis cocked his southpaw left but didn't fire it on the bell.
He didn't fire it on the bell. I thought Jack was sensible that round. Didn't go quite finish, going looking for a finish, which he wouldn't have, he was entitled to go looking, continue to look for a finish. He didn't. Box sensibly. I don't like the way Regis is stumbling. He seems to be losing his feet a little bit, and I haven't liked he's got these trainer boots on. I don't like them. I like boxing boots to be boxing boots. I'm sure they're boxing boots somewhere, but they're not boxing boots in Manchester, and they seem a little bit heavy. They've got like a wedge sole. He seems to be like he's stumbling over them, falling over his feet. I'm not calling for the return of leather soles, but I think they're hindering his movement.
Do you know what I think a little bit of that is as well, though, Steve? I think those two knockdowns took a bit of the zap out the legs, took a bit of the spring out the legs, and that's where I feel now this second half of the fight, obviously he's got to wrap it up. I feel like Jack Catterall has pulled away in this second half.
Pulled away with the 10. The 10-7 helps, but he's pulled away.
Yeah.
With a respectful touch of gloves before we begin the 12th and final round in what has been a fascinating contest here at the Co-op Live Arena. Both men have been on the canvas. Jack Catterall was dropped in the 5th round by a beautiful right jab from Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis was dropped twice in the 9th round by wonderfully picked left crosses from Jack Catterall. And since that time, Jack Catterall has kept his composure, kept his cool in this cauldron of an atmosphere here. Hasn't perhaps satisfied the baying crowd who wanted him to go for the finish, and a wonderful right jab off the back foot. Regis Prograis stutter stepping and shaking out his right leg after he seemed to trip over a seam on the boxing canvas once again. Steve Bunce made the point that he's wearing what seemed to be a hybrid between boxing boots and fashion trainers. Remember Devin Haney in his last contest against Ryan Garcia, when he was dominated and dropped 3 times by the overweight Ryan Garcia, he was wearing something you'd see on the catwalk that had a boxing sole. And a big swing and a miss from the desperate Regis Prograis. And as he got back to his feet, fellas, he's shaking out his right leg. And I didn't like the way he did that, Regis Prograis. He swung and missed, got back to his feet and shook out his right leg as he did when he ran into the trip hammer of a right jab from Jack Catterall a few moments ago. We're approaching the halfway stage of the final round, and Regis Prograis, well, his legs haven't appeared sure-footed since those 2 trips to the canvas. And again, as he tries to move around the boxing ring, the foot movement that was so staccato and so crisp in the opening round of the contest, it appears to be as though he's just moving on black ice at the moment. Not sure-footed in any way, shape or form. And again, as he comes forward on a right jab, his own knees dip and he gets back to his boxing stance and he shakes out his right foot once again. And these are worrying signs for my money being exhibited by Regis Prograis, because Jack Catterall is not touching him and he loses his balance once more. Rolls over like a man stepping off a curb, but this time his left ankle threatened to give way beneath him. These are really worrying signs from Regis Prograis. He's got a swelling on his right temple. He's continuing the idiosyncratic characteristic as he did sit down and land a left cross over the top. Perhaps his final roll of the dice, but his feet appear very unsteady indeed, like a newborn calf taking its first steps. Backs up to the ring, and Regis Prograis inviting Jack Catterall to charge him as he voluntarily backs up towards his own corner. But as he tries to get out of the corner with a push to the chest from referee John Latham, his knees dip once more. Good left hook to the body slung in by Jack Catterall. But the movements of Regis Prograis is really concerning in this final round. His gameness, his conditioning and his competitive spirit keeping him up. But as he takes a double right jab from Jack Catterall, his knees behaving strangely once again. There's an untidy tussle at close range to conclude the contest. The 2 men end in the arms of one another, and they exchange sentiments of respect at the conclusion of what was a terrific contest. For what it's worth, I've got Jack Catterall as a winner on points there. But what is my immediate concern is the balance and the neurological condition of Regis Prograis, because throughout that 12th round he was stumbling around the boxing ring, and even as he tries to make his way back to his corner with a guiding arm from his coach Bobby Benton, well, he's almost as though he's had a little bit too much to drink on a Saturday night and he's leering his way towards the boxing ring. I think Catterall has won it. I think the 2 knockdowns were a huge turning point. But my thoughts and indeed concern right now with the condition of Regis Prograis.
Mine as well, and Ant and I, with our headsets off, as you were commentating, said it in the 11th and in the 12th. I haven't liked the look he's been. I haven't liked the way he's been gurning with his jaw. I haven't liked the way he's been twitching a little bit, and I have not liked the way he's been stumbling with that right foot. And I don't think the trainers help. The trainer boots help, the hybrid as you call them, but I haven't liked it at all. There have been moments in those last 2 rounds, and you mentioned neurological, and without going into too many details, there are certain signs when a fighter's hurt, and one of those signs is irregular, odd, staccato foot movement and funny facial tics. Let's hope that I'm jumping to conclusions and you're jumping to conclusions, Ronald, but I think Jack pulled away last 5 or 6 rounds, obviously with a knockdown, and Jack's won it. But I tell you what, after 6 rounds, especially with a knockdown, that was a great tight fight. Then it got really special.
No, I'm very much in agreement with Steve. I thought after 6 or 7, looking back at my card, I had it even, but then I thought Jack won everything really from then, certainly 8 onwards, including the 10-7 knockdown. And I just felt it was almost like when Regis had to step on the gas, he was still having a bit of success, but that's when the counter punching of Jack Catterall was coming through. I thought Jack at point hit the body really well. Yeah. Just like Steve, I thought it was a bit worrying by the jaw was open nearly all the way through the fight. It fell again as he goes to the referee.
But that was the trainers, hand on heart. Yes. That was, honestly, Ron, that was the trainers, because that was the straightforward fall when he was walking. Look at the soles, an inch of rubber, Ron.
And what Steve is referring to is that as he made his way towards referee John Latham to join Jack Catterall at centre ring, he tripped and staggered once again before having his right wrist held by John Latham. Balance disrupted once again from Regis Prograis after the punches have stopped flying.
You know, I do see exactly what you mean. My gut feeling is it's just that half of it is those ridiculous boot shoes. Still not happy with it, Ron. No, still not happy.
Referee David Diamante, the MC, in position behind the referee John Latham, preparing to give the verdict. We feel it's going to be a points victory for Jack Catterall, who was put on the floor in the 5th round of this contest, but kept his composure and dropped his man twice in the 9th round with 2 picture-perfect left crosses in this all-southpaw affair.
He looks absolutely broken, Regis. Absolutely broken. He knows at 35 this might be it. Look at him, Ron. He's staring off into somewhere, knowing he's not going somewhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action here in Manchester, England, we go to the judges' scorecards. Manuel Oliver Palomo, 117-108. Bob Williams and Dave Braslow both scored about 116-109. All 3 for your winner by unanimous decision. And the new WBO International Super Lightweight Champion, Jack El Gato Catterall.
So Jack Catterall declared a unanimous points decision victor over the former 2-time world champion Regis Prograis by scores of 117-108 from Manuel Oliver Palomo. And Dave Barslow and Bob Williams had it 116-109, testament to the manner in which Jack Catterall pulled away in the second half of the contest after he was sent to the floor in the 5th round. But Jack Catterall maintaining the momentum of a magnificent 12 months, beating his 3rd former world champion in as many fights, adding to his wins over Jorge Linares and Josh Taylor. And here on this maiden night of professional boxing at the Co-op Live Arena, a local lad from Chorley, Jack Catterall, has sought to make this his very own house, prevailing in a high-quality all-southpaw encounter against the former two-time world champion Regis Prograis. Jack Catterall takes a step closer to a world title tilt after a very composed display indeed.
One of the most clear and clearest fights I've seen, where you can apply the little expression, a fight of two halves. That was a staggering fight of two halves. There may as well have been a 6-rounder one night and a 6-rounder the next night in another city. Two absolute different halves. Catterall had to dig deep. I think when he was dropped in the 5th round, I think he was hurt. That's why I don't think he can play. Not hurt as in really in trouble, but then he had a good round after that in Prograis, and Prograis' people were confident. I wasn't sure if the tide wasn't going to turn until we came to the 7th. And honestly, I really mean that one. I was not sure. I had a feeling in the 7th, he had to fight really well, Catterall. He boxed brilliantly before the first of the two knockdowns. He needed it at that point, and he needed it.
No, he did, because you thought, is this fight slipping away? Is Prograis getting that attention? It's Prograis getting that confidence to push forward, but no, Catterall adapted well, shown what world-class fighters do, and I thought he had a very, very strong second half of the fight, a world-class second half of that fight, and hopefully for the lad it's a world title next.
Indeed. Lots of 140-pound, 10-stone boxers under the Matchroom umbrella. It's a lively super lightweight division, but a division that is very much in flux. Liam Parrow, the IBF champion, is set to take on Richardson Hitchens later this year. So Jack Catterall could well be in line for the winner of that contest. Teofimo Lopez, perhaps the divisional number 1, but he hasn't looked great in his last two contests. And in the WBA and WBC title list, we've got men who scored upsets. Alberto Puello is the interim champion for the WBC because Devin Haney is the champion in recess after he was dropped 3 times by an overweight Ryan Garcia, who subsequently failed a drugs test, and so didn't lose the title that night. We've got an interim champion in Alberto Puello of Dominican Republic, and then Jose Valenzuela is the WBA champion after he beat the highly favoured Isaac Pitbull Cruz last time out in August. So it's a division that is very much in flux, and even though Jack Catterall doesn't have a title, in his mind, he's going to feel that he's the best of any of those 4 titleists.
No, certainly, Ron, and you know, looking at those 4 titleists, I think he would possibly start. Him and Parrow will be very close on with the bookies, but other than Teofimo Lopez, he'd be fancied in either one of those fights, and this lad deserves a world title next. After everything, obviously these last 2 wins, Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, get this by a world title.
Indeed, so plenty of options at the conclusion of what has been a busy 12 months for Jack Catterall, facing those 3 former world titleists. Got married earlier this summer, then was preparing for this contest, which was scheduled to take place in August. It's been pushed back after he had a niggle in camp. But Regis Prograis just currently conducting an in-ring interview for Television Company, and we're going to hand up to Steve Bunce, who is in position on the ring apron, waiting to speak to the protagonists of tonight's contest.
I was able to lip read what he said, and what he said was, Jamie from Matchroom was asking him, you know, what couldn't you do? And he just went, nothing. He was just better tonight. And I love a bit of honesty, Ron, you know that. You two carry on, I'm up here resting. I'm doing the real work.
Steve Bunce playing the role of roving reporter, but how refreshing is that to hear such honesty from a man who has been to the mountaintop, and again, he knows what it takes to get there. He knows the caliber you have to be, and just admitting that on this night, despite the back and forth nature of the first half of the contest, despite him sending Jack Catterall to the floor in the 5th round, saying that Jack Catterall just too good.
Regis Prograis has been a world champion, a world-class fighter, and I think right now he's given a world-class interview. He just was very honest, and I'd like to say he was right in the fight for the first half of the fight, but then Catterall pulled away. He didn't make any excuses. I think when Regis tried to step on the gas, that probably fell into Jack's hands, but he had to roll the dice, he had to gamble that little bit. That was a very refreshing post-fight interview, it really was.
So Steve Bunce in position to speak with both boxers. Regis Prograis just leaving the arena, leaving the boxing ring, and I'm pleased to say that he's walking in rather sprightly fashion as he makes his way down the steps.
it's like it was clearing up as he was talking in his head, and you saw him walk there without any problems. Ron, I think, and I don't want to go on, don't want to sound like an old man, I think it was those crepe soles on those boots. I really do.
No, I think it was a great spot.
I did. I'm convinced that's what it was, Anne.
No, I think it was a great spot because, like you say, now he's walking fine, but whether it's the movement, like I said, whether the legs got zapped and then that affected his movement, balance, I don't know, but I definitely believe that the boots played a part, but they didn't play a part for the first 8 or 9 rounds.
So, Jack Catterall, one wonders how will he view his options now, because he has got plenty of options in this red-hot super lightweight division.
Ron, I'm saying that, and you're looking at those champions. How many of them would be in a rush to come here to this fantastic arena, though, to fight Jack Catterall? Will Jack have to travel? I don't know.
Indeed, he's seeking to make this arena his fortress. Remember, there's also the MEN arena, headlined in Leeds, he's headlined in Liverpool. Says that Liverpool and Manchester are equidistant from Chorley's been on a fantastic tour of northern cities in the last 12 months. Will Eddie Hearn have the influence, the power, the connection to lure one of the champions over to the UK? Liam Parrow, who went over to Puerto Rico and beat the division's bogeyman in Subriel Matias last time out hustling the man whose all 20 of his wins came inside the distance, but he was outworked by the Australian Liam Parrow, who's facing on the New York Haitian Richardson Hitchens next. That perhaps could be the most straightforward fight for Eddie Hearn to make.
Yep, absolutely. With both fighters being promotionally with Matchroom, you'd feel like there's options there. So that would probably be the easiest one. Would it be the biggest one? No, the biggest one. Eddie mentioned it in the ring just then. And that'd be the number one in the division in most people's eyes, Teofimo Lopez. And listen, there might be a few complications in making that, but Teofimo says some crazy stuff. Constantly back and forth with his promotional group Top Rank. We'll see, but that's a great fight. That's the best fight in the division to be made, in my opinion. But we could see the winner of Liam Parrow Hitchens by Jack Catterall. We shall see.
Indeed, and Teofimo Lopez has a habit of turning up at his best on his big nights. Remember, he's beaten the division number one twice when he beat Josh Taylor in June of 23, and before that he beat Lomachenko to become the number one at lightweight in October 2020. So he, a man who clearly relishes the big occasion and brings out the very best, the better the opponent is in the other corner, because he looked rather tepid in his last 2 contests.
He did, and you worry about Teofimo Lopez in the life he lives outside the ring by all accounts. I think that win, that fantastic win against Vasily Lomachenko seems a long time ago. But one thing about Teofimo Lopez, when he's hot, he's hot. He's an unbelievable athlete, unbelievable fighter. So would he start favourite? Probably, but it's a great fight.
Well, Steve Bunce is on the ring apron. Jack Catterall just posing for some photographs with his corner team. He's got that title, that international title, around his waist, as he's just posing for the pictures. All smiling team of Eddie Hearn, Sam Jones, Nigel Travis and Kerry Kays, arm in arm. And now Jack Catterall going to make his way over to Steve Bunce, as is tonight's promoter Eddie Hearn. Steve, it's over to you.
Eddie, you just stand there a second. Jack, first of all, a fight of 2 halves, and in the second half of that fight was almost a perfect 6 rounds from you. It was quite brilliant to watch on ringside.
Buncey, that means a lot. I knew it was going to be a tough fight. We had to stay switched on for the 12. With a fighter like Regis, so much experience, 2-time world champion, there's not a second you can switch off. Brilliant instructions from Jamie. I knew I was probably dropping after the 4-5 round mark. I knew I had to switch things up, and I think I did it intelligently.
And when he dropped you in the 5th round, I knew that it was a shot because you didn't complain. Had it been a slip, you would have, I thought, screamed the place down.
Steve, it was a glancing blow, but it wasn't a shot. I felt like it was a slip. I'll watch it back. I wasn't hurt, but I knew it was a 10-8 round, so you have to get to work.
And that when you dropped him for the first time in the 9th, do you realise how good a shot that was? That goes on any show reel in any day.
Down. He should have stayed down, but listen, that showed the true fighter in him. He was straight back up, couldn't rush in, couldn't make mistakes, and he gave us a tough fight.
He did give you a tough fight. So, I mean, I've got to throw this to you. We could dissect that fight and enjoy all of it, especially the movement in the 12th round when you had to be sensible. What next? I know Eddie's here. I'm going to speak to Eddie in a second. What next? What do you want?
I'd love the Liam Parrow fight. Another southpaw, bring it on. He's got a good fight, Richardson Hitchens, coming up the next couple of months. So I'll be there to watch that fight. I like Liam Parrow, but I want that world title.
And Jack, finally, I've got to get a word from you about this arena. It's the first time we've been here. I know there's only 10 or 12 and not 24, but there's something about it. It feels like we've been here all our life. It feels like our home already.
You know what? I walked out, I come to the venue, 7:30, had a little look. It was busy from early. We had a lot of good fights tonight, a great undercard. The fans come out and watched all the fights, so it was a special feeling coming out to the Co-op Live.
Ed, I've got to ask you, the first 5 or 6 rounds, I'm guessing that's what we expected, because we know what he can do, Regis, when he's on his game, and he looked sharp in those first 6 rounds.
First 3 or 4 rounds, it was very cagey, and then you worry that people are going to start getting a little bit impatient, the crowd, the fans, and all of a sudden, the knockdown actually spurred things into action, and it was a really, really good, exciting back half of the fight. I mean, Regis was very, very brave. He tore his ankle over. You saw that in the 11th or 12th round. Just carried on fighting, was badly hurt. And Jack is really underrated, seriously underrated. He might be the best 140-pounder out of all of them. And, you look at his year, Linares, Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis. He deserves a shot now. And we've got our show December 7th. And I believe he deserves the winner of that fight.
Yeah, and I believe he does as well. Once the fight started to change in that 6th round and 7th round, once we'd gone from this cagey, brilliant, intense fight into a slugfest. At that point, I was close to Regis Prograis' corner. They fancied their man, and they fancied a stoppage.
I thought he was up after 6 rounds by a round or so, and Sam Jones was asking me to score. I think Bell, you had it 1 round the other way, but it was a very close fight at the turn. Obviously, the knockdown was massive, and he won every round from there. But he landed a great shot, Regis himself. I think in the 10th round, they landed both at the same time. Yeah. And you could tell how hard Regis could punch, especially early in the fight. If you watch like the 1st or 2nd round, hit him on the top of the head up close, and you could see the power, and it got Jack's attention straight away. So you've got to be smart in there. And Jack was very smart, and he's going to be very tough to beat.
Why is it, Eddie? Why is it? And you've said it already, so that's not me inventing the word. Why is it that Jack Catterall is underestimated? He had that great run of form before he got to Josh Taylor at the first fight. He beat Josh Taylor, Linares last year, this guy in a year. Why is it he's underestimated?
I think it's because the style in which he fights. I think, without being disrespectful, the casual fans might not always understand and see the ability. But when Regis Prograis says he's the best fighter I've been in with, and he's boxed the likes of Zepeda in his prime, he's boxed Josh Taylor in his prime, he's boxed Devin Haney in his prime, that's the level that you're talking about this young man. Like, Devin Haney against Jack Catterall is a tremendous fight. Teofimo Lopez against Jack Catterall is a tremendous fight. Ryan Garcia against Jack Catterall. And would you bet against him in any of those fights?
No.
I mean, this is the level of the man. One of the top British fighters. And he should have been undisputed. But now he must get his shot at the world title.
And Eddie, I've just got to get a quick one in about Reece Bellotti and Michael Gomez. 2 hours before the fight happens, Gomez is ill. You've got 30 seconds. What's your understanding?
I mean, we got a text message or a call from the British Boxing Board of Control. Dennis Gilmartin asked me to come backstage. He told me that Michael Gomez fell ill in a changing room. He had pains around his stomach and his midriff. The British Boxing Board of Control doctors inspected him. They gave him a urine test and looked at the results, and they ruled him out of the fight. We didn't have any. Gomez didn't have any say. Reece Bellotti believes that he's pulled a fast one. I've never seen.
So that is about it. We're going to have to cut Eddie Hearn off and wrap things up. Get us off air as Jack Catterall's march towards the world title continues after victory tonight. Here's the BBC News.